Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel for the midpoint of Season 50, War number 6. We got a matchup against XK9. We're coming into this war with a 5-0 record, looking to make it 6-0 to set ourselves up for a good second half of the season. Team today, Black Cat returning with that Longshot synergy. Longshot actually has some fights today, and rank 5 Maestro, unascended, coming to war. First time he's been in a war that counts. I don't think I've used him since we stopped pushing. I think I used him for one war back then. Starting off today on path number 9, we have a Photon here on node 9 with hazard shift, and this is going to play out very similarly to the spot that we took. I think it was last war or the war before. Photon not a tactic defender, so we don't really have to worry about the scythe charges here. And that synergy that we have with Longshot is giving us the maximum amount of ability accuracy reduction against science champs right away. So that's going to go a long way towards preventing not only the debuffs from Photon when you hit into her, but the hazard shift debuffs. And Photon very dangerous on this node because the hazard shift debuffs will feed her pure light form charges or whatever those charges are called. So if you're not careful, you will have to be avoiding many of those unblockable special ones. So we're like 30 seconds in here. We've done a ton of damage already here. And again, this is only an ascended Photon, not a rank 3 or anything. So we basically just have to survive long enough. I think we're going to bait out one more special one here. And at this point, I realize I don't need to worry about knocking her down. I can just combo her and she goes down. Alright, next up we have an Iron Man Infinity War on node 18 with hazard shift. Only a rank 2, so felt pretty comfortable with the rank 5 unascended Maestro here. Maestro, a really good matchup here because he is immune to both the Incinerate and the Poison, and triggering those debuffs on himself will actually help ramp his Neutronium, which is really nice. So Iron Man is a tactic defender, so to start the fight here, we are trying to go for reparries. If not, we are baiting out heavies and heavy countering, and I think it ends up being 4 heavies, plus the buffs that we get from Maestro's kit, and that gets us our first scythe charge here, which is right there. So from here, what we're going to do is continue to build up to our special 2, and I think we end up triggering Superior Rage, so we get the Fury passives rather than the Fury buffs. Doesn't really matter either way. Firing off the special 2, and now we're kind of fully ramped. Now we can use the special 1 to refresh those Fury passives. From here, we do have to worry about the Feat of Indestructible. However, if a glanced hit pushes us over a bar of power, it's actually going to prevent that Indestructible from triggering, so we can just continue to keep an eye on that, make sure that we don't fire off a special 1 when he is indestructible. And then the last remaining threat in Iron Man's kit on this fight is the power gain that he's going to trigger. However, I think the next special 1 ends up completely melting what's left of his health here, and we don't have to worry about the power gain at all. So I used an invuln here, I think. Definitely didn't need to do so. Rank 5 Maestro putting in some nice work here. I liked seeing that. Alright, up in Section 2, we are on Path 8. We have an Omega Sentinel on Node 26. Again, only a rank 2 here, so Maestro should be just fine. We're going to start off the fight by parrying and doing medium light. We don't want to do heavies because that's going to count as a repeated attack and going to feed her armor ups. And we don't want to do that until we have a scythe charge up. Now we can safely push Omega Sentinel to her special 2 because we are Incinerate immune. She won't be able to incinerate us through our block, and if we were to take some hits, that glancing buff is going to drastically reduce the amount of damage we take because Omega Sentinel has some of the highest attack in the game, and you can see the chip damage that we're taking through the block is still pretty significant here. We have the scythe charges up, firing off our special 2 to get our Fury passes up, and then from here we can just refresh them with the special 1, deal a bunch of extra burst damage here, and we're about 45 seconds into the fight here, and we are well on our way to another successful fight. I think I do take a combo here with a missed parry towards the end of the fight. I think it's right after this special 1, and you'll see, the glancing really comes in handy here. Because without that, if she had gotten a couple crits on a normal champ, it could have been extremely dangerous or resulted in a death. But glancing is mega OP when you're using it on an attacker. All right, next up we have a Gorr here on node 35. I feel like I haven't seen this placement in a while, just because Longshot handles this in like 20 seconds. So at the start of the fight here, we're going to parry and heavy to build up our bad karma, and as soon as we get to our special 2, we're just going to fire it off, and that's going to apply the Fate Seal and the Incinerates, and you can see him just absolutely melt, firing off a second special 2, and we're just going to hard hold block here, bait out a heavy, and he ends up dying shortly thereafter, so probably the easiest fight of my season. All right, last fight of the war for me is a Gladiator on Node 42. We took this fight last season when Gladiator was a tactic defender. It is significantly easier here when you don't have to be worrying about the indestructible passives from the tactic here. So the idea here is that you want to get the Fate Seal up as quickly as possible, and then you want to bait out as many special ones as you can while that Fate Seal is active. And every time you do that, he's going to trigger an Unstoppable buff, and it's going to end up dealing more damage. Other than that, you want to make sure that you continually knock him down when protection returns. And then if the Unstoppable does happen after the Fate Seal is gone, you just kind of have to wait it out here. You can definitely choose to tank some one-eye open damage if you want here. I don't choose to do it here. It's pretty safe to do, I would say. But, you know, again, I like to play my fights very conservatively in war. Second special does a bunch of damage. You can see him repeatedly triggering buffs on himself, the confidence buffs, and the Unstoppable buff. And he's just continuously dealing damage to himself. And I think one more special 2 ends up doing it. We've kind of lined up the specials really nicely with protection being down, which is nice here. I've seen other people take this fight where they specifically knock him down before using the special 2. Don't really think that's necessary, as you can see. Pretty easy fight. All right, we did end up coming away with the win here. 5 kills for me, 0 deaths, and we finished the first half of Season 50 with a perfect 6-0 record. Could not be prouder of the guys in this alliance and what we were doing this season. And yeah, looking forward to the second half and seeing where we can finish this season up on the rankings. So, folks, if you enjoyed this, please let me know by hitting that like button. And as always, thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.